So, for those of you who don't have your heads in the sand, you've probably heard that the stimulus bill is finally passed, or at least it passed through the Senate. It still needs, it still needs final approval in the House and then to be signed into law by Joe Biden. But I sincerely doubt it's going to run into any hiccups during that process. So we're gonna get it. We're gonna get it through. Yeah, the Senate was the difficult part. And can we get a report again on those Senate margins? Just want to. Hold on. Wait, give me that. Where's that tweet that I found? It's so good. Yeah, 50 to 49. 50 to 49. Unbelievable. I mean, really. I hate to run this road down like time and time again, okay? Like time and time again, but Republicans are really just in a different breed, okay? I'm not talking defending Dems, okay? I'm talking attacking Republicans, all right? Republicans are really just a whole other universe of awful when it comes to anything, you know? This is why, and I'll say it, I've said it before, I'll say it again, there is no point in compromising for Republicans. Zero. Zilch. You can compromise for moderate Democrats and maybe get something out of that. There is a benefit to that. Moderate Democrats will sometimes move on this. Republicans will not. They absolutely will not. They do not budge. They are absolutely in line. They are in unison on these issues. Compromising for them is utterly worthless, you know? It passed 50-49. Ted Cruz's proposal to block immigrants from getting it was denied 49-50. Ugh. God almighty. Well, you know. Anyway, the bill is passing. Wonderful. What are we getting from it? Well, Congress tells us. And let's go over it, okay? Because there is good stuff here. Important that you should know. The bill provides funding for agriculture and nutrition programs, including SNAP, which does good work. Wait, is this the wrong bill? No, it's not. What do you want from me? Schools and institutions of higher education, childcare, COVID-19 vaccinations, testing, treatment, and prevention. That's good, too. Oh, this is the House bill? Oh, fuck, it's the House bill. Hold on. Give me the Senate. Jesus. American Rescue Plan. Senate, yeah. The one that got through the Senate. Oh, this is a convenient article right here. Oh, this one works? Okay. Good to check. There we go. Thank you very much. Associated Press coming in clutch every time. Thanks for catching that, by the way. I missed that. Highlights of the $1.9 trillion COVID bill nearing final passage. So we have aid to the unemployed. Expanded unemployment benefits from the federal government that could be expended through to September 6th at $300 a week. Now, that's a big one right there. To be fair, one of the big problems I think that we had with discourse around the first wave of stimulus checks is that most of the support that people got were through unemployment benefits rather than through a flat check. Yeah, it's a decrease from 400. There was an article that was linked. It was what was changed? Was it from here? No, it was from a different one. Yeah, the Senate cut it down. Additionally, the measures provide 100% subsidy of COVID health insurance premiums to ensure laid-off workers can remain on their employers' health plans at no cost through the end of September. Now, that's pretty good right there. COBRA is obscenely expensive. COBRA is basically like a government health insurance system to allow you to stay on your health insurance plan from a business that you no longer work for. COBRA sucks. It is not good. It's bad. We do, of course, have the $1,400 checks for a single taxpayer or $2,800 for a married couple. Of course, no polyamorous support here. You cannot get $14,000 checks for a deca couple, you know, 10 people together in some sort of polycule union. Isn't COBRA a terrorist group? Well, that's why it's so bad, obviously, because they fight G.I. Joe, too. The cutoff for those checks is $80,000 for individuals and $160,000 for married couples. This is actually lower than it was before, which means that there are millions of Americans who got a check under Trump who will not be getting a check under Biden, And the check is smaller than the one that Joe Biden promised. They explicitly promised $2,000 checks that they jumped off of pretty much right away. Phenomenal, fantastic. We have money being sent to state and local governments and tribal governments as well. Very, very cool. That is a good thing. Aid to schools. It would be used to reduce class sizes and modify classrooms to enhance social distancing. That's a good thing, probably. Install ventilation systems and purchase PPE. Jesus. It's just kind of grim, you know, that's the position we're in. Like presently, it's like, yeah, we got money. Yeah, we're spending that money on ventilation systems in schools so the plague can make its way out of the building. A new program for restaurants and bars hurt by the pandemic would receive $25 billion. The grants provide up to $10 million per company with a limit of $5 million per physical location. Wait, what? $10 million per company with a limit of $5 million per physical location. I'm assuming this means I'm assuming this doesn't mean like physical location is in like a city. It means physical location in terms of like a branch of a given business. The grants can be used to cover payroll, rent, utilities, and operational expenses. $25 billion is not very much to go to the whole goddamn country. The bill also provides $7.25 billion for the Paycheck Protection Program, a tiny fraction of what was allocated in previous legislation. We have testing and vaccines, $46 billion to expand federal, state, local testing for COVID-19. Very good. Healthcare. Parts of the legislation advance long-standing Democratic priorities, like increasing coverage under the ACA. Financial assistance for ACA premiums would become considerably more generous, and a greater number of solid middle-class households would qualify. Though the sweetened subsidies will last only through to the end of 2022, they will lower the cost of coverage and are expected to boost the number of people enrolled. Well, that's good. Vosh, Bernie himself literally said that 1,400 plus 600 equals 2,000. First of all, nobody's arguing the math. We know 1,400 plus 600 equals 2,000. We do know that. We got it. We did it. Figured it out here. Bernie Sanders is very nice with the Democratic Party. Sometimes that's good. Sometimes that's bad. But look, you can look at it, and this is a fact of the matter, okay? They said $2,000 checks. They said it. You win in Georgia. You get those 2 Senate seats in Georgia. $2,000 checks, okay? Going out the door. That's what they said. Now, yeah, they said it after the 600 was already like known to be going through. So they made that promise, and it's a big deal that they're backing off of it too. It doesn't matter what the actual, if they had said 3,000 and then they went it down to 2,000, I would want them to do 3,000 too. It's important that they hold to their promises or we're going to get fucking dogpiled in the midterms. Bigger tax breaks for households with and without kids. Okay, this is a big one right here. This is a fucking big one right here. Under the current law, most taxpayers can reduce their federal income tax bill by up to $2,000 per child. In a significant change, the bill would increase the tax break to $3,000 for every child aged 6 to 17 and $3,600 for every child under the age of 6. So, have you heard people saying that this bill would cut child poverty in half? This is why they're saying that. What this means essentially is that if you have 2 or 3 kids, that's like 3, maybe even $4,000 extra dollars every year, which for low-income Americans is a significant, and I mean significant, increase to their, yeah, it's huge. It's unbelievable. The legislation calls for payments to be delivered monthly instead of in a lump sum. Families would get full credit regardless of how little they make in a year, leading to criticism that the change would serve as a disincentive to work. So this is also pretty cool. Vosh, low-income parents don't pay taxes? Yeah, that's why this is cool. They'd get the full credit regardless of how little they make in a year. Some of these motherfuckers are going to be getting paid by the IRS. Add in the $1,400 checks and other items in the proposal, and the legislation would reduce the number of children living in poverty by more than half, according to the Center on Poverty and Social Policy at Columbia University. The bill also significantly expands the Earned Income Tax Credit for 2021 by making it available to people without children, us child-free incels coming in. The credit is low, and moderate income adults would be worth $543 to $1,502, depending on income and filing status. And then we have rental and homeowner assistance. So what I really want to focus on right here is the federal income tax bill reduction for children. That is a big deal. That is actually a really, 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 really big deal, because what this essentially is why are we cutting kids in half? Yeah. Well, one of the big issues that we have is that our tax policy doesn't, in my opinion, effectively and ethically take money from the right people. Okay? Now, one of the biggest problems we have in this country with regards to inequitable distributions of wealth are poor people who have a lot of kids. Okay? This can mean Appalachian coal miners with like 17 children in a shack. This can mean inner city families where they have a lot of kids. This can talk single or dual parent households. Children are very, very expensive. Children are insanely expensive. And the fact of the matter is that if you are, I'll justify this in two ways, okay? First of all, getting a tax credit that you can access even if you make very little in a year is an excellent way of making sure these children can get their diapers and food. It's incredibly important. And secondly, from an economic perspective, this is actually a very good investment, because economically, the most essential resource in any country is what, people? Oil, coal, natural gas, platinum, lithium? No, it's labor. Labor is the most essential resource to any country, and the fact that it is so expensive to have children in this country means that our domestic birth rate has been declining. Immigration has been shoring up that deficit for a while. Now, I don't care personally whether I share my country with native-born Americans or immigrants or whatever. I really do not care, but I want a populous country. I want a country where the people who are being born have the resources necessary to live a decent life. Not just because it's good for them, not just because it's morally right, but also because it benefits me, okay? And it's very, very simple, all right? Children born in poverty are more likely to become economic drains on the system. They're more likely to engage in criminality. They're less likely to be educated. Children who are born and accommodated, paid for, supported, financially or otherwise, are more likely to be economically productive, less likely to be criminally inclined. They are more likely to contribute to the country in a positive way. Now, that may seem like a selfish justification, but I want to make it extremely clear that you do not need to be Mother Teresa to be in favor of this. I think this is good morally on its own, but even if you're entirely self-interested, even if the only thing you care about is what benefits you, this does. Investments in child poverty, to reduce it, of course, substantially pay dividends down the line. This is a good thing for everyone. Wasn't Mother Teresa a monster? Yeah, well, okay, I'm evoking the imagery here, not the actual thing. Anyway, long story short, there are a lot of problems, and I mean a lot of problems, with this COVID stimulus bill. I really do think that this insistence on taking the bullet for a $1,400 check rather than a $2,000 check makes Joe and makes the Democrats look like dishonest snakes. I really do think that. I think it's a dumb idea. I think it's tactically ineffective. And I really think they could have done more to push that goalpost, that problem, onto something or someone else. But Democrats like to play nice. They're not going to sit up there and say, hey, we wanted to do $2,000 checks, but we need some moderate Democrat support. We need some Republican support, or it cannot pass. And they're just not going to do it because they don't care about you. But they don't take shots like that. They don't, because it's mean. I still think there are better ways to handle this. I wish the unemployment benefits had been kept at $400 rather than $300, and I do wish that they didn't means test the hell out of the $1,400 check as if there wasn't enough going wrong there. But that child tax credit, that's a good thing. That's a damn good thing. Would a $2,000 recurring check be really bad for the deficit? Well, I mean, it would be bad for the deficit, sure. I think that, in my opinion, I think that if you're giving money out, unemployment benefits are probably a little bit better than just the checks. The checks exist for optics. I believe that. If you're really struggling during the pandemic, it's usually people who are unemployed that really, really need it. And by means testing the money that you get to be through unemployment benefits, you target the people who need it the most. That being said, even people who still have a job are struggling, and I think they deserve checks too. I think that they deserve something too, which is why I also support these big checks that just go out to everybody, you know? But I think most of what we give out, you can justify it going through unemployment benefits. I think that it's more fiscally responsible in a good way. But I think we should have. I think that in this situation, our risk is not spending too much. Our risk is spending too little. So I'm not erring on the side of caution. I would be willing to support much more money being spent to support the American people in this time than I would like being cautious with it. I like the unemployment insurance or the unemployment benefits. I do. It's weird to me other modern countries are doing recurring checks every month, but we can't. It depends on which country you look at, but if you actually factor in the unemployment the unemployment insurance from the first COVID stimulus package that went out, we were actually doing pretty well compared to other comparable countries. It's just the checks that don't look good. But those countries didn't have the same unemployment spikes that we did, at least not always, I don't think. I think that it varied a little bit. This stuff is complicated. Yeah, subsidized wages is also a really good thing. That's kind of like an unemployment insurance. What was the first unemployment insurance? It was $600, right? First COVID stimulus unemployment insurance. Yeah, it was $600 a week, which means that if you were unemployed, that's $2,400 a month. And how long did that run for? How long did that go for? That was for like 4 or 5 months, wasn't it? I mean, that was a good long time. Ran till like June? Yeah. Was it till October? October or June? It ran a while, okay? It ran at least 4 months, I think. They're not doing that because low wage earners started realizing they weren't paid enough. Yeah, well. Some people were making more off unemployment insurance than they were probably making off their original jobs. Yeah, and that was on top of normal unemployment benefits as well. The $600 was a disincentive to work, combined with state benefits, many, many more on unemployment than being employed. See, I don't believe that, though. I don't think this unemployment incentive pans out the way a lot of people theoretically think that it does, you know? Even when people are making more off unemployment than they are off of, like, gainful employment, there just doesn't seem to be a serious problem with unemployment being expanded because of people who want to leech off the welfare state. It just doesn't seem like a thing that happens that much. Maybe it would if we pumped up unemployment benefits enough, but to me, that's not a problem with unemployment benefits. That's a problem with regular work being that shitty, okay? If you're in some state making $7.25 an hour for no benefits off of your work, like, yeah, unemployment benefits are going to look pretty fucking good in comparison. But that's not because we're doing too much for unemployed people. That's because employed people are getting next to nothing. $7.25. Can you working an hour and getting $7.25 in 2021? I mean, what is that? The cost of a we don't even have dollar menus anymore. $7.25? What is that? Jesus. Yeah, before taxes. Well, if you're only getting paid $7.25 an hour, I doubt you're making much off taxes. Yeah, and then there were people who don't even make minimum wage because of tip subsidies, you know? So, whatever. Yeah, I'll put it this way. If you run a business and people are quitting your job because they would rather, they're better off getting unemployment benefits, you should be fucking embarrassed as a business owner. I'll say that much, okay? If you run a business, if you run a country, if you're in charge of how much people make, if you're in some way responsible for their fiscal well-being, and they would choose unemployment benefits off of work, if that's better for them, that's an indictment of you, motherfucker. That's an indictment of you. That's an indictment of your job. That's an indictment of your country.